Did you know that in 2023, the UK saw a 30% increase in solar installations compared to the previous year? Or that the average UK home gets 1,340 hours of sunlight per year? That's a lot of potential energy just waiting to be harnessed. Hello, you wonderful money-saving folks. If you're considering a solar panel system with battery storage, you're probably asking yourself the question, is it worth it? Well, I'm here to share my experience and hopefully help you answer that question. But before we dive into it, let's take a quick look at what's coming up in today's episode. We'll be discussing energy usage and costs, the key components of a solar setup, and some challenges you might face when installing products to maximize your solar system's efficiency. We'll also be talking about the cost of solar panel systems and battery storage, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on whether it's all been worth it. So stick around, I'm sure it's going to be enlightening. Let's start with the numbers. Since switching to Octopus in August 2022, my overall costs have been £679.71 for a total usage of 4,796 kilowatt hours. My total consumption, however, was 8,827 kilowatt hours, with solar providing 2,953 kilowatt hours directly to my home, and my batteries providing 3,586 kilowatt hours. Now that's a lot of information, but this is where the money savings come in. If I was on a standard tariff with the 8,827 kilowatt hours, charge per unit would have been roughly 41 pence. This would have cost me £3,746, and that includes the £127 standing charge, or 371 quid a month. Now with my system and my setup, my average bill per month has been £67. But it's not just all about the money, it's about sustainability. It's about making the most of the resources that we have, and it's about taking control of energy usage. I hate to feel like I'm a slave to the grid, and these are benefits that you too can enjoy with a solar setup. Let's talk about the Zappi. Last time I did a video, I didn't have any type of car charger. This little device has been drip feeding excess solar into my car battery that isn't being consumed by my Give Energy batteries at the back of the house. If the car is fully charged, it then feeds the excess to my Eddi to heat the hot water. So here's how I've been getting the most out of my Zappi. I've set it to Eco Plus with 100% renewable energy, which means it's only using excess generation. Then I can schedule a top up between 12:30 and 4:30 as a backup, and that's using a smart tariff at the cheaper rate. And last but not least is the little Harvi device. And this is the brains behind the operation. It reads the incoming, outgoing, export of my system onto the national grid. What I'm generating, basically. So anything that's left over, that's gone into the car, batteries are charged, and my hot water's done, it'll feed it back onto the grid. And I'm currently getting 5p per kilowatt. So at least it's not all going to waste. The Harvi's a little bit different from the Zappi and Eddi. It doesn't control where the power goes, but instead it reads your import and export and power, and it sends that information to the Zappi and the Eddi. It's a bit like the brains behind the operation, keeping everything running smoothly. Yeah, a bit like my wife does for our house, I suppose. Okay, so pause there. I have to make a quick addition. The Harvi, the only reason I have it there is because my Zappi is too far away from the supply box coming into the house, and also the same with the Eddi. They're too far away. They won't reach. They do come with CT clamps, and you can hook them up if you can reach or you want to wire them through. But the Harvi is like the little bridge that sends a radio signal to both of them. Hopefully that does not mess this video up. Now, I'll be honest, the installation of the Harvi was a bit challenging. The tricky part was figuring out where the CT clamp goes. I have a number of fuse boxes, one near the Zappi, another one in the garden, but the clamp goes into your main box on the live feed, which is the brown wire. This sounds very simple, but it matters because I'm simple like that, with the arrow pointing towards the smart meter as shown here. I know some of you might be thinking, well, that's obvious, but for me, it really wasn't. It's not my forte, electrical stuff, but that's okay. I'm good at cutting grass though. But once it's up and running, the Harvi is a valuable addition to any solar power setup. It keeps everything in check and ensures you're making the most of your solar power. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but what's it gonna cost me? Well, let's talk about the numbers. In 2023, a standard 250 watt solar panel costs between £400 and £500. One of the most common sizes for a home is 4 kilowatts, depending on where you live. That'll set you back about £6,400. This will cover around 29 square meters of your roof. And for the battery storage system, you're looking at a cost range anywhere between £1,200 to £6,000. It depends on the capacity and the type of battery that you choose. But remember, this is an investment. Yes, there's an upfront cost, but the savings you'll make on energy bills and the income from exporting excess power back to the grid, 5p, more than makes up for it in the long run. Now, I've got a couple of really interesting case studies of friends that have had systems installed, and they have a payback of 2 to 3 years. I think originally it used to be 25 years. Well, now it's nowhere near that. So is it worth it? I'd say a resounding yes. It's been a journey of learning and discovery, but the benefits far outweigh the challenges. And the best part, knowing that you can do this and I'm not being a slave to the grid and I can run my house off the sun. And that makes me feel I'm giving something back to the future. I knew I could get a Back to the Future reference in there somewhere. So here's the future powered by the sun, here's to sustainability, and here's to all of us doing our part to make a difference.